Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy. We are going into day 2 of our 2024 Livemas event, where we go live every day in December leading up to Christmas 2024. Today, we are featuring Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Woo! Join us as we delve into the weird wide web to see what she has been up to, from Disney to friendship breaks, pregnancy rumors, and claims that her new book is all lies. I know, right? Okay, we have a lot to uncover, so stay tuned for an exciting day 2 of our Livemas on Parawomenradio. I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the Gypsy Rose crew to roll in. Special shout out to my replay crew. Hope you're having a fabulous December. I can't even believe it's December already. Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy.
Carefully strumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the falling deep into you. Yeah.
Hi guys, here in the blue. I cannot believe it's December. I know my mind is blown. Where did November go? But I'm really excited because I had a really good time last year when we did Livemas. And I'm looking forward to doing it this year. I've got some things planned. I want to do some actually television show reviews, some book reviews. Of course, we're going to be talking about Gypsy Rose. We talk a lot about the Watts case. The Sarah Boone, she's being sentenced today. I decided not to watch her today. We'll do her tomorrow. And so if you have anything that you want me to cover during these 25 days leading up to Christmas, I'm going to try to plan something special for Christmas. Well, probably Christmas Eve and Christmas. But if you have anything, be sure to email me at parawomenradio@gmail.com. Okay. So, and also, I'll be keeping to the same schedule I have on Sunday, Wednesday, and Fridays. We'll be sticking to 8 p.m. Eastern time, but every other day, it's just whenever I feel like doing it. And so then there's fair warning that there might be a little bird in the background adding his 2 cents into it when we do it during the day, because he's a flat talker. He likes to talk when I talk. So, and his new thing lately is he's been laughing. Yeah, something he's been doing is making him laugh. So you might even hear him chuckle a little bit. But hopefully you'll enjoy it and it won't be annoying. Okay. And also, I don't know when I'll have mods during these 25 days because of the weird time and whatnot. So I'll try to look at the chat as much as possible. Today we're coming to you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Hi everyone. And on YouTube we just hit 5K subscribers. So yay us, and welcome to all the new subscribers. And I have great love for all of my old subscribers too. Okay. You love the Watts case? Yes, we talk about the Watts case quite a bit. I have some new information about the Watts case that I've been sitting on that I've never heard before, but maybe others have heard, but I've heard some information that perhaps Chris was harming other children. And that's all I'll say about that. So I do have some new Watts tea that we're going to dish up during these 25 days. I just need to get that one put together, organized. So hi, Miss GMD. Hi, Cloud9. Who else did I see? Hi, Spectral Ways. Hi, Angie Rangi 81. And hi, everyone that's listening but isn't in chat. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up for me. Helps me go out under the algorithm. Let people know that we're doing Livemas 2024 this year. And maybe get some people over to our channel and bring some cool people back to our party and just, yeah. All right. So the name of the game today is I just simply did some Gypsy Rose searches and saw what popped up because I just kind of wanted to see what she was up to, what was being said about her. So we're gonna just have like a little round robin of Gypsy Rose nonsense. Okay. Let me make sure that you can see it. Oh, you're in Australia. We have got a lot of people lately from Australia, and I've noticed that we've got a lot of new people from Germany. So, hi guys. I try to play with my subtitles, my closed caption in different languages, and somebody who was German asked me to do it specifically, so I moved them over to the German language, and I think maybe that's why we've got some new German people. But if you are listening in another language and you want me to play with them, let me know and I'll see what I can do for you. Okay, so Gypsy Rose. I like to find smaller channels and showcase their videos. And what we do is we don't usually play everything in its entirety. I will stop and start things. I might talk over it. I might not even show everything in its entirety. I might speed it up. But everything that we view during this live, I put down in the YouTube show notes. So I'll put the link down there. And if you ever want to just go, and I do this for fair play use, I do it for reference for you guys. And I also do it to kind of like get it nice and juicy for the channel. So you'll be drawn over to their content because they took the time to create the content. So I think fair is fair. And so that's how we do it here. And yeah, so this is a channel that I just found, and just because I show their channel too doesn't mean that I support everything they do. Probably doesn't even mean that I know everything that they're doing. It's just like what we're watching at the time I am either supporting, or if I don't agree with it, I will say right up front, I don't agree with it. But it doesn't mean I don't like the channel. It just, you guys, I say what I say and I do what I do. And I expect the same from everybody else. So, and if I change my mind, I say I changed my mind, and that's the life that I live in, and that's the life that you can live in here over at Parawomenradio. So here we have Diva Spell, and they're talking about Ken Urker missing, the shocking truth about Gypsy Rose's controversial book release. So I'm suspecting that they're going to talk a little bit more about this whole, did they break up or didn't they break up? And a lot of these things that I found, I've only listened to a few seconds or a minute to see if it even interests me. And if it does interest me, I save it for either another show or this show, or, you know, like I work it into a show if I'm interested in it. So let's see what they have to say.
All right, buckle up, folks, because the drama surrounding Gypsy Rose Blanchard is heating up yet again, and this time it involves her boyfriend, Ken. According to insider tea spilled by Gypsy's friend Bree, things got tense last week when Ken seemingly vanished for a few hours, leaving Gypsy in a full-blown panic mode. Here's what reportedly went down. Ken was missing for most of the night, prompting Gypsy to frantically call the police, local hospitals, and anyone who could help locate him. She feared the worst, only for Ken to finally call her back at 5:30.
I want to stop. I didn't know all this. I don't know. And this, you guys, this is all alleged. My research for entertainment purposes only. I don't know if it's true or if it's not true. We're just going down the Gypsy Rose rabbit hole. So I had heard all of this, like, did they break up? Didn't they break up? Nina is very adamant to this day. I saw just a few days ago, she was like, they broke up. You're going to see that they broke up. And I stand by that they broke up. But my question is was this just all for content for their show?
a.m., claiming his phone had been stolen. Sounds convenient, right? But let's not jump to conclusions just yet. Let's dissect this drama.
What do I want, y'all? I want something not too heavy, but like, I kind of want to. Can I say this? I kind of want to xoxo, like the stuff I don't always xoxo, but I get so goofy sometimes though. Like Aubrey, where's Aubrey? Oh my God, I love the video that she posted today. It was so funny.
Now, we're not saying Ken's story doesn't add up, but it's got more holes than Swiss cheese. According to the details, he didn't seem to be in any trouble at all.
Doesn't their stories all have more holes than Swiss cheese? I mean, Gypsy Rose is just Swiss cheese. She's the holes, and maybe Ken's the cheese. I don't know. But you could drive trucks through their holes.
Which leaves many questioning his...
My gosh, I just said a number of that's what she said statements. I realize that now.
Excuse. Was his phone really stolen, or was this just a creative way to snag a boys' night out? Now, let's go a little deeper, shall we? The whole Ken Goes Missing drama has opened up more questions than it has answered. While Ken's claim that his phone was stolen might seem plausible on the surface, some fans think this is just a cover-up for deeper issues brewing between him and Gypsy. One big red flag people have noticed is how detached Ken seems whenever he's seen with Gypsy.
I think that Ken acts like he is so pissed off and annoyed at Gypsy, but at the same time, Ryan acted that same way. He always acted so annoyed and pissed off at Gypsy, but I think that's her draw. Like she finds men that want to control situations, and she has this way where she can act dumb in a situation but be in complete control, and they won't know that they're being controlled by her. They think they're running the show, and that's one of Gypsy's games. But Ken always acts like he always acts like he's just so pissed off and annoyed by her.
It's public appearances or social media posts, he often looks checked out, like he's physically there but mentally somewhere else. It's got fans speculating, is Ken already regretting his involvement in Gypsy's very public life, or is he simply overwhelmed by the constant media frenzy? Some have even suggested that Ken might feel suffocated by Gypsy's attempts to rebuild her narrative and stay in the spotlight. After all, being associated with someone as controversial as Gypsy can't be easy. Is this missing phone incident just the beginning of cracks in their relationship, or was it a one-off coincidence? To add fuel to the fire,
it also has to be probably pretty intense that, they are human, and their relationship probably has its ups and downs. And I mean, come on, it's Gypsy Rose. Gypsy Rose loves to fight. So, that seems maybe to be her love language is fighting. And so to be under a fishbowl and just not be able to escape has got to be like feeling like the noose is tightening.
Bree, the friend who spilled the beans, allegedly mentioned this while under the influence, making her confession even more unfiltered. As the saying goes, a drunk mind speaks a sober heart. And this little tidbit about Ken's absence might be a peek into cracks forming in his relationship with Gypsy. People are also pointing out Ken's body language in public appearances with Gypsy. He often seems distant or even tired of the constant attention.
On the Vile Files, he didn't want to sit anywhere near her. Yellow Butterfly 3 says, I think Ken hasn't revealed his weakness, so she doesn't have complete control over him like Nick and Ryan. Oh, that's interesting. That's a very interesting take on that. Yeah, I think you've got something there. Yeah. There's something about Ken she doesn't have complete control, or she does have complete control and he wants to get the hell out of there, but she's got something on him. Yeah, it's one of those two things, because it cannot be enjoyable. Well, plus she's pregnant. Like, that does something to a person generally. Like, if you know that the person is having your baby or you're having that person's baby, you know, that does something. And generally when the person is pregnant, most people want to, if you're not in an abusive relationship, want to protect that person because, you know, they're growing the human. So it's not a relationship that I see lasting. Like, I wouldn't bet $1 that it would last. So that's how positive I'm sure that it's not lasting.
Leading some to speculate that he needed a break from the high maintenance dynamic of their relationship. Is this the real reason for his disappearance? The jury's still out. Speaking of Gypsy, she's back in the spotlight yet again, promoting her upcoming book, My Time to Stand, which is set to release on December 10th. But the announcement has stirred up mixed reactions, not just from the public, but apparently from Ken himself.
Hey everybody, good morning. So I'm so excited that my new book, My Time to Stand, is coming out very, very soon. It comes out December 10th. And you can get your copy, whether it be the original copy, an audio version, or a signed copy, in the links below.
Flashback to 2019, when Ken posted on Facebook about his exhaustion with Gypsy's story being rehashed over and over. He wrote a scathing post directed at someone involved in the Blanchard family drama, claiming that Gypsy needed to stop reliving her past and move on. Here's a snippet of what he said. Gypsy's story has been told many, many times. It needs to stop. How can she heal and move on if she's constantly rehashing the same story into the spotlight every 3 months?
Well,
Now,
if this isn't proof here that Ken hasn't jumped on the money choo-choo train, what is? Like, choo-choo, tell your story, babe. You got stuff to say. And then especially I noticed when he lit up was when he talked about how she had went to that university and how, you know, she got the standing ovation and people were so happy to see her. That's what Ken wants. He wants a life where people are not like scowling and grimacing at who his partner is and now who his partner's baby's mother's gonna be. But Ken, that's not going to be your life. I found out later that, I mean, those people that were giving her a standing ovation were handpicked, invited to be there. They didn't just wander in off the street. You know, they weren't just students that were curious. They were handpicked. So
Now, fast forward to today. Gypsy is gearing up to tell her story yet again, and people are wondering if Ken still feels the same way. Is he secretly rolling his eyes behind the scenes, or has he come around to support her latest venture? One thing that has fans raising eyebrows is Gypsy's behavior in her recent video promoting the book. Observers noted that she used a baby voice while addressing her audience, a tactic her soon-to-be ex-husband once called out as manipulative.
Joey King's voice was great, though. Like, kind of matched it to a T. Let me tell y'all something about Gypsy. I will say y'all this before I leave. Gypsy turns on that voice when she's wanting something bad. That voice does come on. She lays it on thick, which I always thought was so cute. Like, you know, when she wanted something, she would throw that voice on. And her voice stayed the same. I mean, it's nothing that was different. But it's like when she wanted something more, she'd hit that voice and knew that it got me. You know, she knew what she was doing. Guys, I know y'all don't, I know y'all are like it's baby talk or anything, but she didn't like baby talk with it. It would just, I don't know, like, guys, she knew I love her voice. she knew I loved her voice. So, as y'all can call me weird for that, I thought it was unique. Like I like.
Are people that love uniqueness from people. I remember watching Anxious Aunt, and one of them, I don't remember which one, they're cousins, but one of them says she has a higher pitched voice like Gypsy, and she's real self-conscious about it. And she always would say that she thought Gypsy was more beautiful before she got her nose job, because it was her unique nose that made her interesting, and now she just is like not interesting at all. Spherical Ways, thank you so much for the super sticker. Your support means a lot. Hi, Laura Lynn. I hope that your packing and moving is going really well today. Students said they didn't even know about the event. So it really was handpicked, wasn't it? Define stage audience. If I was there, I would have asked questions. And yeah, I was just shocked that when Ken said she got a standing ovation, I was like, what the hell's that about? Hi, Real Killers. Oh, thank you. Yes, we hit 5K over on YouTube. And hopefully maybe you'll want to do one of these Livemasses with us. A Watts Livemas. I've got some new information on the Watts case that I've never heard of before. But I think it's out there, but I don't think it's out there like I don't think the mass public knows about it. Yeah, her voice is awful. It's kind of like nails on the chalkboard for me. But I don't find baby voice, like I don't find women who speak in baby voice attractive. So there's that. Ryan needs to get another eye exam if he thinks Chips is the most beautiful woman. Yeah. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I truly believe that. I don't think she's the most ugly person in the world. She's not the most beautiful person, but her behavior makes her a very ugly person to me. So let's go in and let's talk about her book, because her book is coming out in just a few more days. I think it's on the 6th. Let's look into this book. I found this on More Madness. This is the first video that I've watched from More Madness. And again, we will link everything that we watch over in the YouTube show notes.
9 days, December 10th, my time to stand. And right now, people are talking about it on Reddit. But why are they talking about it? Well, here's the thing. I decided to click on the link itself in particular, which therefore opens up this page, which obviously would then give you different links of how to order her page. All right, no, her page. My apologies. Her book. Now, with that being said, though, it's quite interesting because on Amazon, her book is already 10% off, which I just find quite interesting. But I don't know if that's a normal thing to do. But there's also a 10% off in a few other places as well. But here's the thing, though. The thing that caught my attention the most.
It doesn't shock me that it's 10% off, especially since, like, I don't know if you have Black Friday in the other countries, but in the United States, it's a big thing. And so it doesn't surprise me that it would be on sale. What does surprise me is that it's not been released yet, and it's #1 new release in survival biographies. She's putting herself in a survival biography. That makes me sick.
Was this little tag here, #1 new release. At first, I sat there and I said to myself, how can it be already #1 new release when the book doesn't come out for another 9 days? But then I realized It's
We
probably
actually have that. I have a video lined up. Patient Guile says it's going around that Gypsy might lose custody of the child due to her felony status in Louisiana. I do have a video queued up that we're going to take a quick peek at that today too. So thank you for bringing that up.
based on pre-orders. So you're telling me that there are many people in this world that are willing and have been willing to pay the fee to buy her book? I mean, honestly, that's just weird to me, to be honest with you, because I don't know what she can tell us that's going to be new from this book. How many times have we heard her story? How many times have we seen it? Like, what can you honestly tell us that is going to be that different? Most importantly, what can she tell anyone that people are willing to actually believe? Because for the most part, there is a big portion of people.
I think there's going to be like one or two. No, I think there's going to be like 2 or 3 bombshells that she's going to be considered a bombshell. But I also think that there's probably going to be about 4 or 5 other things that she says that right away people are going to be able to debunk. This is just going to make her look worse. The more money cash grabs that she does like this, it's the more nails in her coffin. It's more rope to hang herself. It's just Gypsy can't stop herself. And so Gypsy will be the one that ends Gypsy. I really fully believe that.
People who just don't believe anything that she says because we are in a position where, well, we've recognized the patterns of lies. But hey, she obviously still wants to, bring out this book, which is fine. Do we go do to make your monies, especially with your alleged child on the way? But to be honest with you, the fact that there's tons of people who already started to buy this book, that's the crazy work. But let's get into what people are talking about on Reddit. What people are talking about is exactly what this description here says itself in particular, which is what I'm going to read to you guys in a second. A victim of her mother's Munchausen, by proxy and child abuse survivor, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's unique and controversial case made headlines across the world. Now she's finally free to start living her life on her terms and to tell her own story as she can. All right, okay. So now we get into the next bit itself in particular. Focused to use a wheelchair in public and endure a lifetime of full illness, fraud, and exploitation, Gypsy Rose was subject not only to her mother's medical, physical, and emotional abuse, but deprived of childhood milestones. Prevented from attending school or socializing, Gypsy's formative years were defined by pain and isolation. After serving 8 years in prison for the role she played in her mother Dee Dee's murder, Gypsy is embracing her fresh start and reminding all of us that it's never too late. I mean, listen, to be honest with you, I don't think it's even a matter where she's reminding people that it's never too late.
It's never too late. What? Embrace unaliving your parents because, it's never too late.
I feel like she's telling people that it's okay to commit a crime and still be able to, scam.
I mean, it's never too late. You can go to prison for 8 years and then be forgotten and become a millionaire. It's never too late.
People, it's okay to commit a crime and then continue to create a new crime once you come out. Because right now, people are not believing that this woman is pregnant. Right now, people are not believing anything that she says because they believe it's nothing but a money grab. So to be honest with you, is it never too late to change your ways? Absolutely. But is it also never too late to figure out a new way to...
100%, it's never too late to change your ways. And I am someone who believes that even a person that is going to spend life in prison can turn their life around, and it's never too late in the perimeters that you've been put in. It's never too late to put good out into the world. But it is too late for Gypsy Rose to change what she's done, to bring her mother back. And in my opinion, Gypsy Rose should not be out free. She shouldn't be free. she should be in prison. So if she were in prison, I would be like, yep, it's never too late, Gypsy Rose, to turn your life around. But for me, it's too late. Gypsy Rose, it's too late.
Fool people? No. So it's a matter of,
Do you agree?
when it comes to Gypsy Rose, do we believe it's never too late for her to have finally changed? Or do we believe that it was never too late for her to come up with a new way to pretty much fool the public?
Agree.
That question I'll leave down to you guys. But there is more. So let's get into the rest of the reading. But I also do want to say one more thing. The word that I want to highlight the most, okay? Where the hell did that word go? God damn, I've lost it. Anyway, the word fraud. Here we go. I found it. Fraud. To be honest with you, this word here is nothing but accurate to who we know Gypsy Rose, or who at least we feel Gypsy Rose is. But nonetheless, though, let's get into the next part itself in particular. In this revelatory, harrowing, and ultimately hopeful memoir, Gypsy shares the painful realities she grew up with and the details of her life that she only knows, including the abusive cycle that began when Dee Dee's abuse by her father. Gypsy's fear that continued unnecessary surgery would leave her to truly
Wait, the abusive cycle that began with Dee Dee's abuse by her father. Is she saying that her father abused Dee Dee? Or that Dee Dee abused her father?
truly disabled.
Isn't it crazy that I don't know which one she's saying here, because I feel like she said it both ways?
I mean, yeah, okay. Let me continue. How she coped with guilt and accepted responsibility for her mother's death. Memories of her final days in prison. What she learned upon reviewing her own medical records for the first time. How it felt to finally see her family again as her authentic self.
So these are what we can expect to find in this book. An abusive cycle that began, which we're going to either hear if her father abused Dee Dee or Dee Dee abused her father. Well, we might hear about that. Gypsy's fear that continued unnecessary surgery would leave her truly disabled. I have heard that supposedly we're supposed to hear about what this big surgery was that Dee Dee had planned for her. That's supposed to be one of the bombshells. How she coped with guilt and accepted responsibility for her mother's murder. Yeah, right. You made money off of it. Memories of her final days in prison. Who cares? What she learned, and didn't we learn that in the 10, 20 part docuseries? I don't know how many parts it was. I stopped watching after a few. What she learned about reviewing her own medical records for the first time. So this is how she's going to try to get around the medical thing, which this is going to reopen the whole medical. I mean, everyone's going to go back down the medical rabbit hole. I predict. How it felt to finally see her family again as her authentic self. How it feels like to know this part of the family now. I mean, I don't know. There's going to be family photos and new facts about Gypsy's life that she previously kept private. Oh my gosh, she's kept things private.
I mean, listen, I know what some people are probably already thinking, but let me know exactly what you're thinking when I when I was reading.
Well, it's good to see that there's another content creator that I've not seen talking about Gypsy Rose, and it's also good to hear another male voice talking about Gypsy Rose. So let's keep going and look into Gypsy Rose to lose custody of her child. But first, let me pop over into chat and see what you guys are saying. Lies After Lockup. Yes, I couldn't remember the name of that show. This is ridiculous. This is way more words than she deserves. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Share, like, and subscribe. People who made a change for the better do it when they stop pointing fingers at everyone else and point that finger on themselves and change what needs to be changed. Yeah, it's really important to recognize that a lot of times, when I don't like something in somebody or somebody annoys me, I have to really look at myself and think, is this something that annoys me about myself? Is this something that holds a mirror up to me that shows like this is some way I never want to be because it's been presented to me? But the way that I look at people, I look at us as learning opportunities, and Gypsy is a huge learning opportunity for us. And it's the only reason I talk about her case is because I want it to be out there that who she really is, but it's a real opportunity for us in true crime to really learn to not take everything at face value, and that fake news is alive and well because Gypsy Rose is just fake news. It's her narrative that she wants to stuff down our throats. And thankfully, there's those of us out there that won't allow this to happen. And in fact, we're going to point out the inconsistencies. I'm not telling you how to think, how to feel, what to believe. I'm just presenting you with what I see and feel, and then you decide on your own.
Been flying left, right, and center, but looks like one thing for sure is she might not be able to raise her baby, and that's at least according to some trusted sources.
Oh, and this one is by the Hollywood Gossip. She covers Gypsy Rose quite a bit.
Who work in the system. Getting right into it, Katie J claims to have contacted more than one person who work with child protection related services, and both women gave her news which looks pretty bad for Gypsy because according to them, there is a high chance that the authorities will be right there when Gypsy Rose is giving birth because her baby is highly considered at risk. But it is important to note,
I have a little information on the Dan over on TikTok to share with you guys. So it's so funny that you guys are saying this because it's like you're reading my mind.
That all this might be put into practice because Gypsy is still on parole, and that makes things harder. If you need a reminder, Gypsy Rose stated on her recent visit to Nick Vile podcast that her parole ends in June 2025, and that means that her baby will be born when she's still under her parole. So let's get into it. Now, Katie J gave this information via an Instagram post, and it is a pretty long one, but let's start with this. She said that Gypsy Blanchard's baby can be taken from her under Louisiana's child custody and protection laws. Not all criminal charges.
Is it Katie Joy that's bringing up this conversation topic? Because Katie Joy is somebody that you have to be really careful about what news you get from her. So, yeah.
Are the same. The courts don't treat all criminal charges the same. The nature of the crime may determine the ultimate impact it has. Conviction of certain felonies often lead to parents losing custodial rights. The list includes homicide, aggravated assault, stalking, kidnapping, any crime that's sexually in nature, anything that endangers children, convictions that prevent custody. Certain criminal convictions can prevent a parent from gaining child custody or retaining it. Any felony conviction that involves violence can cause a person to be barred from seeing their children. However, in some cases, a parent may be granted supervised visitation based on the circumstances. Felony convictions such as aggravated assault, homicide, kidnapping, stalking, and sex crimes typically prevent a parent from having custody. There are some exceptions to the rule. If a parent has prior criminal history for many years earlier, it might be overlooked. If the offense was not violent or the person was convicted of a misdemeanor, the family court judge may allow them to have custody of their children.
Do you know how rare it probably is that judges are taking children away from women who have past history of felonies. I mean, I don't see this happening at all. I'm an ex-social worker in the Detroit area, foster care. And this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So a few years ago, but yeah, I don't think so. Cool Breeze says, who knows, maybe next year we'll see an entirely different Gypsy. I mean, what are we going to see next year? I mean, an entirely different Gypsy would be not seeing Gypsy at all. Gypsy just going away. That would be, for me, an entirely different Gypsy. And that would be fine with me if we didn't see Gypsy, if she just went away. But Gypsy's never going to go away. And so we're never going to see an entirely new Gypsy.
The reality is in the caption that you wrote, which said, Gypsy Rose Blanchard's fantasy of having a family with her boyfriend Ken is a fantasy due to laws related to child custody and protection in Louisiana. In fact, Gypsy's conviction of unaliving prohibits her from having custody of a child under the law. With that, a crystal ball spoke to a woman with over a decade of experience working with re-entry of inmates in Texas and Louisiana, along with a woman from Lafourche Parish with direct experience with DCFS, and the news is not good for Gypsy. Now, before we go ahead, if you're wondering what DCFS means, that stands for Department of Children and Family Services. Now,
okay, I'm just actually going to stop that here and read this. She says, without a crystal ball, spoke to a woman with over a decade of experience working with the re-entry. According to both women, the parish that she's in is very strict about child custody and protection. When a person on parole for a violent crime gives birth, DCF is known to be at the hospital at the birth. I was told that Gypsy's doctor, as a mandated reporter, is required to report her baby as an at-risk child due to her crime against a family member. Individuals with convictions of homicide against a family member are often declared unfit in the court system. My contacts both state that both Gypsy and Ken are in for a rude awakening when the baby arrives. I don't think so. Gypsy's allowed to just traipse all over the country. I don't think a baby's gonna make one iota of a difference. Under Louisiana law, a murder conviction can lead to an automatic termination of parental rights. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. In order for a Gypsy to have any rights to the child, DCFS would order a full neuropsychological evaluation for her and Ken. Well, they probably have stuff like that already. Not maybe for Ken, but for Gypsy, because she's on parole. Gypsy's history of malingering, homicide, and fraud would deem her unfit. Although they are deeming her as fit, and Gypsy has a way of doing what needs to be done or make it look like she's doing what she needs to be done. So she's probably seeing a therapist, and she's gaining all kinds of new words and knowledge to use to trick and deceive people in an overworked system. It's not just they're not taking her baby. If Ken can pass the DCFS investigation, my contacts both state Ken would not be allowed to live with Gypsy. Most courts will also bar convicted murderers from any contact with the child. If Gypsy and Ken split up, a judge would automatically strip Gypsy of her rights. I think if Ken and Gypsy were to split up, these would be the things that Ken would try to use to get custody over the child. These would be things that Ken and his lawyer would try to do. I can see that. Here is the kicker. Anyone in Gypsy's family can file an emergency petition. This is interesting. To have the child removed due to a conviction. That means aunts, uncles, or even siblings can file a petition to have the child removed. But would they? Would they? Would anybody that was really serious do it? Maybe someone that was looking for attention might, but like, would her dad really do it, or her sister? I don't think so. Unless she was truly harming, if they really thought. But I don't think they want to believe anything about Gypsy. So they might not even believe that she's harming the child. This is all hearsay too. I'm not saying she is doing that, but if she were harming the child, I don't even know if they would believe it. This would not be to her favor. DCFS can also opt to ask Gypsy to voluntarily surrender her rights to a family member to avoid a nasty fight. Bottom line, Gypsy is not likely to raise this child, and DCFS will absolutely be involved from day one. And these are probably the same people that said that, Gypsy violated her parole and is going back, or Gypsy's being going to be retried, or I don't believe it. But I am someone who doesn't believe things very easily. So I'm a yeah right person. What do you guys think? Jip Dip is going to use anyone to get what she wants. Yeah, isn't she? She's already proven that that's what she's doing. Laura Lynn, thank you so much for the $10 Cash App. You didn't have to do that. You're right in the middle of moving. But thank you so much. Your support means so much to me. And I don't have a way to put up my Cash App button. During this Livemas, I am going to start implementing we're going to move over from StreamYard to Streamlabs, and Streamlabs has where it pops up when, people donate, or we have a top user or something like that. Does that annoy you guys, or do you like that when that happens? Do you prefer when it just pops up? And because sometimes when I'm rewatching lives, that does get annoying, actually, now that I'm thinking about that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyway, I'm off on my tangent. Thank you, Laura. Welcome to my mind. Thank you so much. I've got so much on my mind, and there's so much. I'm really excited about Livemas this year. It's what I've needed to bring the spark back to being a content creator. I'm really excited about these shows. And so I've got a lot going on in my head. What do you guys think? Do you think Gypsy Rose will ever lose custody of the child? Just simply doing what she's doing now. If nothing new ever came out about Gypsy Rose, she's just doing the annoying stuff that she does now. I don't think she'll ever lose her child. People think that our government just is snatching children away from people. I mean, it takes a lot generally to get your child snatched from you. So, and I only say that because when I was a foster care social worker, I mean, it destroyed me. That job is the thing that put the nail in the coffin for me and humanity. And I know I wish I didn't know. I know what people do to kids, and it's horrific. And I wish I didn't know, but I know. And it's a lot more than what Gypsy's doing. So, all right. So let's keep going, and let's talk about. There is another new content on Gypsy Rose that I found that I thought was interesting. This is Morgan Alena, the true crime and mystery. And she has Gypsy Rose, How to Master the Act of Friending. More crazy details from her first released book. So she's talking about the book, but she's also talking about some friending that Gypsy Rose is doing. I think this might have to do with the whole Brie thing and Brie deciding to take a break, but let's get into this and see what she has to say. And guys, be sure to share this live. If you're over on YouTube, you can share it to your community section and to let people know that we're doing Livemas 2024 and that we're talking about Gypsy Rose and the Watts case and other cases. And it just helps us dance out into the algorithm, bring more people back to the party. And it's a free way to help me out, and it's really appreciated. And you can do the same if you're over on Facebook. You can just share to your page, and it's really appreciated.
When you hear the name Gypsy Rose Blanchard, you probably think of a lot of things. But being a good friend, probably not one of them. Or even relationships for that matter. But that didn't stop Gypsy Rose Blanchard from writing her own list and publishing it in her book titled How to Master the Act of Friending. I'm serious. Yes, the act of being a good friend, because she can't actually be a friend and just be that. She has to act. So let's get into her top 11 master acting tips to be a good friend, or at least pretend to be one. Number 1 on Gypsy's list to master the act of friending is listen closely and attentively. That way you know how to manipulate him later.
Yes, Gypsy is so good at seeming like making you feel like you're heard. But what she's actually doing is she's like studying you so she can mimic you, so she can kind of know how, like, oh, this person is feeling this way, and this is what that feeling might look like. So I'm going to mimic you, and she's going to learn you. She's going to learn who you are so that she can, she's exactly right about this.
Number 2, be a vault. Confidentiality and keeping secrets is very important to Gypsy.
Isn't that ironic? Because isn't it known that Gypsy was a narc in prison? She would go and narc on people. Isn't that what Gypsy did? She would hang out with them and then go and tell on them so that she could get stuff. That's what I heard, at least.
If it's so important, why does she keep spilling her own secrets? Number 3, lots of laughter required. Number 4 on Gypsy's list of mastering the act of friendship. This one's good. We all need to be reminded of this one. Have genuine care and concern for your friends' well-being and happiness. That can be hard sometimes, right, friends? Gotta remind yourself to care.
Not easy to care for your friends.
Number 5, tell the truth. Even if it will hurt, or even if it's gonna be hard.
Tell the truth. Gypsy Rose couldn't tell the truth if the truth was the only thing that would keep her alive. She couldn't stick to the truth.
Just like Gypsy told the truth to Ryan Anderson when she busted in the middle of the night and said she had a dream about Ken. Perfect example. Number 6, don't ever judge. Always be a safe zone for your bestie. 7, prove your trust and don't breach theirs. At least in the beginning, right, Gyp? Number 8 is key in mastering the act of being a friend. Notice your friends. Be aware of their moods, their body language, read the room, and be empathetic.
Has her book been released yet? Or are people getting some kind of pre-release that I'm not aware of? Or is this just they're all getting it from the pages that we were showing you earlier?
Because I guess it's hard for Gypsy, because, certain types of people have trouble with empathy.
let's go forward and skip past all of these so that you, if you want to watch them, you can go and see what her other, sorry. There we go.
real friend does. A real friend will, you know, listen to you, but tell you when you're maybe not making a good choice. Or maybe try to advise you in another option or a different direction than what you're heading. It's not all about constantly laughing and having so much fun. Sometimes it's just going over to their house and watching TV or taking a nap. What's up, you guys? So as we all know, Gypsy Rose has been going around promoting her upcoming book, My Time to Stand. I elected to take one for the team and read her other book, Conversations on the Eve of Freedom. Oof, let's get into it.
Okay, so this was in her first book. Okay, I'm like, how does she know all this? See, I didn't read her first book. I have heard that other people will be reading her book online. I won't be doing it, but we might be watching another content creator that does do it and commenting on that. I couldn't sit and listen to a whole book by Gypsy Rose, but I will certainly try to hook you guys up if that's what you're wanting. And I know that there'll be other content creators out there doing it.
And it was crazy because not only did Christy work with Dee Dee, woman who married Gypsy's grandfather after Gypsy's grandmother died, Laura, she also worked with him too. And I also talk about freaking how I knew that Gypsy wanted to her dad. I literally called it. I'll show you exactly why. So just keep watching this. It's crazy. And if you don't follow me already, go ahead and hit the.
Oh, I didn't know that Starlight was, well, it's so, I wouldn't have purposely started a live knowing that somebody else was doing a live about Gypsy, but Luna Rose says, just came from Starlight's live and found out allegedly from Cats and Crochet, Gyp tried to apply for Habitat House again recently, saying she was a single mom and can't work, if true BS. That's interesting because over on TikTok, I was tagged in something by that girl 14320, and they're talking about the home again, and Dan, and that girl tagged me and asked what my opinion was on this, and I wanted to bring your guys to see what you guys thought, and I will tell you what I think about it. But she says, did she really intend to keep the home to live with Dan? Dan had no home of his own. So it's being speculated that that's why Gypsy only bought one ticket, was that she planned to send Nick on his way and to go back to the house and live there with Dan. Let me make sure you're seeing. Yeah, you are seeing what I'm showing you. Okay. Take that down. Okay.
Okay, late night thoughts and theories. Just a thought with Gypsy wanting to have that home, and the real reason why she wanted it, this man, Dan. Wasn't Dan the man that she tried to run off and go with? However, keep in mind, Dan did not have a home. Dan was staying with people. Dan needed a home. So do you think possibly the reason why Gypsy only had one ticket for Nick to go home is because she possibly had intentions of going back to that house with Dan and staying with Dan? And for some reason, that plan did not come to fruition for her. And she ended up with Nick because that whole time while she was getting ready for Nick to come, she was quiet. There was no response and he was getting upset. Do you think maybe she was trying to talk Dan into this whole plan? Another thing is, too, the reason why she turned it down so low for the EC is because she was trying to keep her mother's body from not rotting in the home that she planned to spend with Dan in. Think about it. Scents come and stay and linger. They go into the fabrics, they go into the walls, everything else.
Do you think Gypsy Rose would think that far in advance about the smells lingering from her mother and living there. I just don't know if I would. I don't know, but she does think a lot of stuff that you wouldn't think. I don't know. What do you guys think? So that's seems to be what is brewing over on TikTok. We're going to be getting lots of stuff about the house, lots of stuff about Dan. So I'm not sure I am following this little tidbit of information. It wasn't meant to be anything huge, but I did have it teed up for to talk about it. And so I think there is something to what's happening with the house, because usually where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's some smoke over on TikTok. So, and yeah. I also talked to that girl a little bit about wanting to cover more on the Dan portion of it, and also wanting to talk about the taxi cab that night. Actually, I think I wouldn't mind talking about that whole, those, 2 days leading up, the day of, and then the 2 days after, the days afterwards. I wouldn't mind kind of like going more into that part of the case, because to be honest, I haven't gone too far deep into that. It's been more Gypsy and, Dee Dee and that part of the case. But I do find that the house, I'm always interested in a Schmurder house. I am. I'll talk about the Watts house until I'm blue in the face. And last night we talked about a haunted hospital. So, I can talk about locations. For some reason, they fascinate me. So if that's something that you want us to go further into, we can certainly cue that up for one of our days. But let's keep going. And I also wanted to share this same thing with that girl, 14370 did. And this is to warn your favorite content creators. Let them know that Gypsy's show Lifetime is coming for our content. So
with all this talk about Gypsy's new series coming out, I wanted to do the numbers to see if even her last episodes or her last show was even good, what the specs were reaching, and how hard A&E has to reach this time, or Lifetime has to reach this time, to make it a good show. So I went through, I got some numbers. So for it to be considered a good show, each episode needs at least 3 to 4 million viewers on it. So let's see here. She had 8 episodes. That would be at least 21 to 26 million viewers. It is ranking at a 4.4 out of 10 for the last episodes. For a linear, it does show for the numbers as of today's date. With a linear graph, that's just people that watched it just a few seconds, didn't even watch the whole episode or stick with it. They just clicked in and then clicked out. Or it could be the people as well included that actually watched the episodes. For a total of all of those people, all of her episodes only reached 9.8 million. So compare that 9.8 million to the 21 to 26 million that she actually needs. Once again, they're rated at a 4.4 out of 10 for a reason. So with this, they're definitely reaching. They're trying to reach for whatever they can to get the attention that they need to make a profit off of this. Because I can guarantee you, yes, she might be pregnant right now, but I don't think that's going to guarantee her another episode unless numbers start matching the demand that they need. I do want to point out as well that the Wendy Williams show, even
I always say, I don't go to Gypsy's pages. I don't watch Gypsy's shows. I go to my favorite content creators, and I get my information from there. I'd rather give my money to them than to her. So, I mean, if we stop watching her show, it's not going to be on. And that's the way the public will speak. But this isn't what I thought it was. What I had heard, and this is a different TikTok, and I'm not going to be able to pull it up while I'm talking, because I think I saw it yesterday, now that I'm thinking about it. But Lifetime is contacting content creators being like, hey, we like your content about Gypsy Rose. Can we use it? But they can use it and they can cut it into anything they want it to be. It can cut into where it looks like you're supporting her, or they can cut it so that it looks like you're saying something truly heinous and awful about her, and they'll come after you. Or they'll use it where you'll never be able to use that content again because it's copywritten for them. So just, you know what, it's not worth giving them your content. If one of them, if they contact you, or even if you're a small content creator, if they contact you, it's just not worth it. And in the long run, what you're only doing is you're supporting her show. And again, that's just my opinion on it all. So let me make sure I have hit everything I wanted to hit. I thought this was interesting just the other day. These are just little pieces of this loose ends, this and that I thought was like interesting. But I was just thinking the other day, I saw this picture of Gypsy, and the more pregnant she gets, the more she looks like her mom. And then somebody put her mom's wig on her, and I was like, yep. Mom, I love you more than... Hold on, let me see where, get the sound off there. Do they not look exactly alike? Even with, is this before her nose job? Because it's the same nose. This is what Gypsy can plan to look like when she gets older. If not already. Actually, not even when she gets older, because she's older now and that's what she's looking like. And it's ironic because Gypsy is very, very worried about what she looks like. So worried. Over on Facebook, I saw this. I saw under Gypsy Rose Unloaded. Some of you all are getting pretty ridiculous with this. I'm about to name it Gypsy Derangement Syndrome or something, LOL. It's getting out of hand what y'all attack her for. I get we don't like her, but do we really need to make fun of the dumbest things like, oh, her shoes are ugly. Oh my God, she dyed her hair again. Seriously, it's making y'all look ridiculous and giving off immature high school girl vibes. I'm not a fan of when we talk about what she looks like either. And I generally don't. How about we focus on her actual case or the bigger issues that will get pushed down because y'all are just making fun of her or spreading rumors instead of having a decent discussion, which this is happening, but I think for the most part, we are all having decent conversations. Also, the amount of mothers on here that don't understand how pregnancy works is honestly pretty sad. Just because you gained a lot of weight, and yeah, Gypsy has that type of body that she holds the baby inside of her. So I would imagine that she's going to be showing really soon, if she's not already showing. But what do you guys think about the Gypsy Rose derangement? Is it happening? Are you noticing it? I noticed that the Gypsy Rose derangement happens when it gets slow. And then when it starts getting slow, then the content creators start fighting with each other too. That starts picking up when her news gets slow, but it's picking back up because her book's about to come back out. So All right, so I want to wind it up with, this is another content creator that I like over on TikTok. This is Mommy Needs a Nap, and she's talking about, this is in regards to Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Allegedly, she was banned over on at Disney. I don't know if this is a true story or not, but I've been hearing a lot of this.
Alleged Disney ban. Natalie writes, she is. A former cast member confirmed this in an earlier post. I'm not sure if they issued the ban to her in person because she was incarcerated at the time, but Disney has zero tolerance for anyone impersonating. So I was talking about in my last post that allegedly Gypsy Rose Blanchard was banned from Disney World for impersonating a disabled person, an adult impersonating a terminally ill child with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. This was 9 years ago, but allegedly this is a lifetime ban. Up until recently, Disney made a hard and fast rule. They will ban anybody for life for pretending to be a disabled person. Now, back 9 years ago when this happened with Gypsy, it was a case-by-case basis. They didn't see this a lot because most people don't do this. That was just worth mentioning again. Allegedly, despite the lifetime ban, Gypsy Rose went to Disney World anyway. This is all alleged. But we're about to find out because either she will post pictures or somebody else will post pictures and we'll know. However, according to Disney employees, they know that she's banned and they know she cannot go into the park. So it'll just be really interesting to find out the outcome of all of this. And I have to put the caveat, and I know the caveat usually goes in the beginning, but my stuffing's done, y'all. I have to put the caveat. This is for entertainment and educational
I thought it was going to be a good caveat, but it was just really her stuffing was done. I like her channel. She has a lot of good information. I know a lot of you don't like to go over to TikTok, but I've been bringing you more and more stuff from TikTok. I feel like a boomer when I'm over on TikTok. I don't know why. It's the only place in the world that makes me feel like I'm like behind on the times. But I am getting a little more comfortable over there, and she has a lot of interesting stuff on Gypsy Rose. So, okay, guys, I think that's all I have. Let me do a quick. Yep, I think that's all I have. Let me come over into chat and see what you guys are saying. I heard some where that Lifetime is partly owned by Disney or something like that. Oh, that would be interesting to know if that's how she got in because of Lifetime. I've given up on rules others are held to will never be for Gypsy, nor will she ever be held accountable. Yeah, for some reason, Gypsies, and we all know there's people like this out there. For some reason, they get away with things time and time and time again. And even when they get in trouble, it just, things work out in the end for them. There was that Anna Del Vey, or that girl who pretended to be that rich heiress, and she's she comes to my mind too. She didn't unalive anyone. She just stole lots and lots and lots of money, and now she's out and making lots and lots of money again. So there's just people in this world that's what it is. I just have to believe that in the end, if you believe in any type of karma, if you believe in anything, like you get what you put out there, ultimately, then we just have to believe that ultimately she's going to get what she's going to get. I saw somebody in chat. I meant to save it, but I didn't. They said that they'd like us to focus on Dee Dee, and we have a lot of videos on Dee Dee where I feel like we humanized Dee Dee. So yeah. But we can bring some more videos about Dee Dee back. And let me go up and see. Hi, Heavenly. Who's gonna have watch parties? I don't want to give her reviews. I'm not gonna do a watch party, but we'll do an after party where we can, after it's been released, we can come and talk about it. I can't sit and quietly do a viewing party, and I also have to be careful of how much consumption I do of Gypsy Rose. I have to step back and let other creators do that kind of stuff, because for my own well-being, and so I don't feel like pounding my head up against a wall, I do have to take steps back from some of the Gypsy Rose drama. I own a trademark, and all of my content is protected under my trademark. They try to use my content, I will sue. Good. And you guys, if you see any of my content ever being used, just let me know, because I will never okay it. So they probably contacted Nina. She's too smart for that. Yeah, I hope we don't see Nina's stuff up there, but I'm sure they have probably contacted Nina, and we'll probably see Bree's stuff and all of that. I'm scared for Nina for her future, but she was almost a lawyer, so she knows what's up. Yeah. I don't like what they're doing to Nina at all. We talked about how they're getting really down and dirty with Nina. And I hope Nina, well, I'm sure Nina's protecting herself. I'm sure she has a lawyer and she's doing what needs to be done. Alice, I've heard they have, but not sure if it's true or not. I don't know what's being said. Jesse, exactly. It's a trap. Apparently, since she's not liked by majority, they plan on making her look like a huge victim. Oh, that's another thing I've heard too, is that this season they're going to do a lot of online bullying. So if you allow your content to be used, you're going to be made to look like you're an online bully to Gypsy Rose. I've heard that too. Can you imagine? Well, I can imagine, like, what a life would it be that Gypsy Rose is the biggest bully out there. You stand up for it and say, no, this isn't true at all. And then you end up looking like the bully. That's Gypsy Rose's life right there. That's her messed up life. Luna Rose, I hope things get better for you. Oh, I don't know what's going on, but I hope things yeah, her $1,000 baby stuff, that was one of the times where I had to take a huge step back from Gypsy Rose, because I was like, why are people doing that when there's so many mothers out there that need help? Why would you buy her? Anyway, I'm not really sure what's going on, but I hope things get a little bit better for you. Yeah. Have they let up on Ivory Rose Grows Wild a little bit? I hope so. They were going in hot for her too. We had Ivory Rose Grows Wild on a few Sundays ago. Your daughter is homeless and needs help. Yeah, if you want to help, just donate to your local shelter. they always need help, or even better yet, go and volunteer. I'm an ex-social worker, and my favorite line of social work was working in the domestic shelters. It was the one that paid the least, but it was the one that I found most rewarding. And the one that I knew, because you do so much work and you never know truly if, like, in the end, if what you did made any difference in the world. And my one story that I know that I ended up making a difference was actually in the foster care system. I worked for just under 2 years. Like I said, it just frazzled me. And I had to switch gears, and I went off into a different sector of social work. But one of the last things that I did, and one of the things that I liked the most, I found in social work, was actually testifying. I liked going into the court and testifying, and I liked the whole legal aspect of it all. But I got up on the stand and I testified that I felt like this child would be better off with his father and his stepmother than with his mother. And, a lot of people say, like, the court systems are geared more towards the mothers, and that's kind of true. So it was a very unusual thing for me to do, but what I do is I just say what I think, and then you can decide what from there, but I'm going to tell you what I think. And so that's what I did. And I walked away from the job, and like 15 years later, I came across this family again. I was teaching a class where when kids got in trouble for like smoking or staying out late, they would have to do this class, and then the parents would have to go off into the parenting sector, and then the kids would go off, and it was just a 6-week class. And so I was kind of telling my story at the beginning, and I was still in Michigan, but I wasn't in the Detroit area anymore. And also I have 2 names. My mom named me one name, but then literally called me Amy. But my birth name is not Amy. And when I graduated from college, I was like, I'm going to go by my birth name. I thought it would be fun, which was not the funnest thing in the world, because then I made 2 sets of friends. One were calling me one thing, another were calling me another thing. It was not fun. And the coworkers, anyway. But I was back to my nickname, Amy, but the woman was like completing my sentences. And so finally I was like, all right, we got to stop and find out what's going on here, because she's obviously wanting some kind of attention. Turns out she turned to me and she's like, did your name used to be such and such? And I was like, well, that is my name. It's my birth name. And she's like, she turned to her son, and because I was teaching the children of the class, and she turned to him and she said, you better be good to this woman. She saved your life. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, you placed him with us instead of his birth mom, who is now in prison. She saved your life. And I was just like, wow, it felt so good to have something come full circle. So you guys, you never know what you do in this world that's going to make a difference in somebody's life, but you still need to do what's right in your heart. So, all right, guys, I am going to wrap up day 2 of Livemas 2024. It's in the can, right, Junie? Junie and I are going to go do some treat training, because he's been a very good boy. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I will see you tomorrow. We will be doing our lives the same time every day. Our Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday lives will remain the same time at 8 p.m. But the other lives, I will pop up. You never know when, but the rules are I have to pop up for at least 10 minutes a day. So we did 1 hour and 23 minutes today. All right, guys. I love you guys so much. You have made a huge difference in my life. A year ago, when I did Livemas last year, I wasn't even monetized, you guys. I had gotten my monetization taken away from me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was upset. And so I said, you know what? I'm leaning into it. And I leaned in, And I'm so glad I did, because I leaned in and I found all of you. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you this. I love you guys so, so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Thank you to Heaven Lee and Laura Lynn for being the best mods. And you guys send some extra healing over to our Chris C. She's not feeling well. So if you're in the business of sending healing and light, our Chris C could use some. Bye, guys. Love you.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Parawomenradio. I'm Amy.
Carefully strumming this old guitar, words rolling out into the fire. Never ask why my heart burned blue. Here in the haze where you inspire me. Here in the darkness I hear my cue. Time to find some solitude. Here where my soul bleeds openly, deep in the heart of sin and you. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you. Here in the blue, I'm dancing with you tonight, and it feels fine. Carefully strumming this old guitar again, words rolling